Hey there, comic book friends. I'm Travis. It's the Comic Book Roundtable. I'm practicing not yelling because I've been told that I need to not start the show out by yelling at everybody. So this is my inside voice. At any rate, we're here tonight, and back with us we have Jen. How's it going, Jen?
Hello. Thanks for having me, Travis.
Anytime. And again, it's probably been at least a year since we've had the all around critic of all wonderful things, large and small. Ryan, how's it going, sir?
Good. Glad to be here too.
Awesome. But it's been at least a year, right?
It's been 2.
Has it really been that long?
Yeah, I've been doing that overnight weekend gig for 2 years.
Wow. Doesn't seem like it's been that long. But anyway, Ryan shows up at some point, most of the shows late at night. He'll tune in right by the time we're quitting, it seems like. But anyway, so we're gonna jump right in. We're gonna do our typical thing. We're gonna talk Marvel first. It's what we all end up with the least of at this point. So for me, I only got one Marvel book. The Marvel book I picked up was Fantastic Four. It was the big deal. Yay, Fantastic Four is back. I am not a huge Fantastic Four reader. I really loved like the goofy Matt Fraction Allred run of FF. I tried Matt Fraction's regular Fantastic Four book, the whole Magic School Bus-esque book, and I did not care for it at all. But I was curious about this. I wanted to try it out when it came back. So I don't know. For me, this wasn't like, didn't knock my socks off or anything. I think because I'm not emotionally invested in the Fantastic Four. The entire story is basically Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm living their lives, and they're being kind of celebrated, but a signal goes up that the Fantastic Four are needed or whatever, or that the Fantastic, a call sign of some sort. They go rushing there. Unbeknownst to me, because like I said, I don't pay that close attention to the Marvel Universe. Reed Richards and Sue are gone. They don't exist. They like possibly dead or lost in wherever, kind of a thing. And they rush to this thing thinking they might be there. Of course, they're not there. It's basically the Yancey kids had stole some Fantastic Four flare and shot up, just screwing around. But the whole issue is basically drives home the fact that they're gone. They don't exist anymore in some sense or another. They're not coming back. Ben, keeps saying that they got to move on with their lives. Johnny doesn't want to do that. And about the time that Johnny finally comes to terms with the fact that they're not coming back and they have to move on with their life, Ben Grimm is going to get married to I'm assuming long-term girlfriend who's blind. I can't remember her name off the top of my head, but
Alicia Masters.
Yes, he proposes to her and they're going to get married. And then at the very last thing, we see it's someplace else. It is Reed Richards and Sue are talking to each other about this is their last ditch effort. You trust me, it's going to work. And they send some signal of Giant Four shot through the universe, and it shows up in Manhattan to show them that yes, they are still there. And it's a big crying scene for the characters, and means pretty much nothing to me, I guess. So, I don't know. I mean, this wasn't a gripping story. I'll stick around for a few issues because I'm curious to see what they do. But it seems to me like that it's largely going to be still, let's go find them, or they have to find their way back or something like that. I was kind of hoping it would just immediately jump into Fantastic Four is back and we go off on Fantastic Four adventures. Not, we're going to spend an entire arc trying to find everybody, which is, I'm betting, was what's going to happen at this point. So, I don't know. It was okay, but not gripping. That's my take on it anyway. So, yeah. Jen, what did you read?
I read Domino, number 5. I didn't really know a lot about the character before I started picking this book up. It's okay. I kind of like Diamond and Outlaw, who are kind of like her friends. Maybe a little more than Domino in this book, but I really loved her in the Deadpool movies, so I don't know. I'm going to stick with it for a little while longer, but it's kind of close to being dropped, maybe.
Yeah.
There's the current storyline is there's somebody who can negate Domino's luck powers. So she's really been doubting herself and going through a lot. I'll be glad when this is over, this arc is over, and I kind of want to see her do her thing with her luck powers. I don't know. So it's just okay. It's not.
Is that so? Gail Simone writes that, and I'm kind of feeling like lately that's where I'm at with Gail's writing in general. It's just kind of not bad, but it's just lackluster kind of a thing.
Yeah.
I'll be talking about Plastic Man later on. And I'm kind of that way with it too. It's
well,
like
I'm reading Plastic Man as well, so
I want her to do something, and it doesn't feel like we're. I mean, to me, this all feels kind of paint by numbers kind of stuff. Not
yeah. It's nothing. It's not memorable.
Yeah.
So, and I also read Champions. I've been reading that since Jim Zub came on, and I love this book. It's a lot of fun. It's like what a teen book is what I want. You know what I mean? And I love all the characters. They all have their own personalities, and there's a good balance between personality and action in the book. So I'm really enjoying it. And this, Viv is still been kind of dealing with what went on with her family and the vision and everything. So they go to Africa, and the man thing is there. So she's got a lot of fears and stuff. She's disconnected her emotion inside of her, but she's obviously still hasn't completely done it, and she's kind of running from things and not dealing with it. And apparently Vision may be dying as well, but she thinks he's going to be okay. I thought that's kind of interesting. I don't really know what's going on with him outside of this book because I don't read a lot of Marvel. But
I'm not even sure if he's actually in anything right now.
Yeah, I really don't know.
The main Vision or the kid?
No, we're talking
the Vision.
The Vision.
Got a new. Doesn't Chelsea Kane's doing a Vision miniseries coming up?
Right, coming up. But I mean, as far as he's not like, I don't remember him being like in the Avengers or.
Yeah, I don't know if he's in anything.
Yeah, I don't either. But it's got Nova in it. Nova recently lost his helmet, so he doesn't have any powers, and he's dealing with that. And it's got Ironheart and the Wasp, which is why I started picking this up in the first place, because Allie really likes that character. But it's an enjoyable, fun teen book. I really like it a lot. Amadeus Cho's in it, and he's just changed into a different character. He's no longer Hulk. He's still green. I don't know really what's going on with that. And there's a magic character in here who's a shifter. She's a new character, I think, that Zub came up with. She's like Canadian, but she's like, I don't know, Eskimo. I can't think of the nationality or whatever, but she's a cool new character. She could feel the magic in the man thing, and she had been kind of drawn toward it. Viv got over there, and of course, he who knows fear knows, gets messed up by the man thing. So she got pretty hurt. But yeah, I like it a lot. Miles Morales was in it, but he's not right now because I guess he's in the hospital or something to do with Spider-Geddon. So
is Ms. Marvel still on the team?
Yeah. Yep. Miss Marvel's there. No, it's a cool. I like all the characters. It's a fun book. So
yeah. Cool.
That's it for Marvel for me.
So, like Ryan said, of course, they announced a while ago that they're going to do a second Vision miniseries, and Chelsea Kane is going to write it. So, Ryan, what did you think of the original Vision miniseries that Tom King put out?
Well, I'll tell you what. It was before King settled into this adjectiveless style that he's got now. That man, he's read way too much Hemingway. He's got seriously, and all his characters have the same dialogue now. and it worked for that book because they're all freaking robots, you know.
Yeah.
And so I thought, I thought the ending was maybe a little bit tidy and lackluster, but on the whole, I think it's probably the best thing of his that I've read.
So what do you think of them doing a second story of some sort with the family again and whatnot?
What the hell? I'll look at the first issue.
Yeah, well, I'm just curious. 'Cause I'm gonna check it out, but it seems strange for me. I mean,
I'm confused by it because in this
Yeah.
book he seems to be ready to die. Like he seems to think what he's learned from what he's done, that having your life being finite is a part of being human or whatever. So
right.
I'm interested to see what changes with that,
Isn't this one going to be shorter?
Yes.
Like 6 parts or something?
Yeah, 6 issues as opposed to 12. I just find the whole thing curious because it wasn't. I mean, it was critically acclaimed. I didn't know that it sold like really well, and then to have somebody completely different doing it, I don't know. It just seems.
Well, when I read it, I wasn't expecting it to be a part of the Marvel Universe, really. I was like, this is a pocket thing, kind of.
Right.
And then it kind of did because, I mean, we still got Viv and,
it
it
ended up being
still
popular enough
happened.
that yeah.
I liked the Vision a hell of a lot better than I liked Mr. Miracle so far.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the Vision was pretty. I forgot though. I forgot I sold King short. I liked Sheriff of Babylon quite a bit too.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say that. I think his shtick is wearing a little thin, but I think on the whole he has done some good stuff.
Yeah. I'm just curious because to me it just strikes me as being such a different kind of a thing.
Well, maybe tonally this will be its own kind of thing all over again. It won't.
And that would be
what he did.
Yeah, I would think that would be good. I hope that's the case because to me that seems much more prudent than trying to ape what was before.
Yeah,
That
Kelsey Kane Mockingbird thing. Actually read that from the library, and because I wasn't going to spend money on it, but I didn't think it was too bad.
No,
I didn't think it was too bad at all.
Yeah, I was just curious. I don't know of any other Marvel news.
Some big new X-Men thing is coming in the fall.
Is it? Are they going to bring back Uncanny? Is that what it is?
Maybe so, and it's going to be some crossover or something.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
I'll avoid that like the plague. So
I haven't read an X-Men book in probably 20 years. I don't see any reason to start now.
Yeah. I would if they condense it all down into one book as opposed to 6 or 7. You have to kind of keep track of. But anyway, so if no other Marvel news, let's roll on to DC books. What do we want to talk DC wise?
Well, we can talk Plastic Man.
Let's talk Plastic Man right off the bat. So, I mean, maybe this is part of this is expectations. I really was hoping that Gale was going to take the character and really do something with it. Hit us with some social commentary. Deliver some politics or something. And there's none of that in it really. There's the occasional moment, but I do not care about Eel. This him, attempting to be a white hat, even though he knows he's not. He's verbally said it, but I don't really feel like that's a story that's actually being told here. It's just very, very shallow and whatever.
Yeah, I liked the first issue enough, and then I got the second issue, and I was like, I don't know where we're going here. Third issue for me was about the same as the second issue.
Right.
I mean, there are little cutesy things in it here and there. It's an okay read, but it's nothing special.
Yeah. Because of how I order so far in advance, I end up picking up all 6 issues. If I was walking into the store to buy this, I'd be done at 3. I don't hate it, but I could spend my $3.99 someplace else pretty easily. I think so.
You know, that was sitting on the shelf for how I forget your policy about industry gossip on this show. For or against?
Go ahead.
Okay, that was sitting on the shelf for years, and the reason they released it now is just to give Ethan Van Sciver the middle finger on his way out the door. He was supposed to draw it. Gail Simone had written the minute his contract was up, because that was like his big labor of love project. He loves Plastic Man, and the minute that his contract was up, they just published the old script with someone else drawing it.
Well, now, Ryan, I enjoy it more than I did before.
There you go.
Just saying. I mean, if that's real, I don't, whatever. But that's funny if that's the case. But not an exciting book, and that certainly wouldn't make it better if he was drawing it. So
didn't Plastic Man have something to do with one of those New Age of Heroes books?
Yeah, he's in the Terrifics also.
Oh, that's right. I read the first issue of that, and
that was because wasn't he an egg? I quit reading it, but I thought he was an egg. So
yeah, he was frozen. He was frozen in egg shape because he was also in the metal, whatever that shenanigans was that I didn't read.
So it makes sense that this is probably old because it's obviously happened before metal,
right?
The Terrifics is like their Fantastic Four knockoff, right?
Yes.
Just like all these New Age of Heroes books are a knockoff on a Marvel thing. And the first issue didn't make a huge impression. I read it digitally, and I seem to remember thinking it was all right enough. And then they get to the last page and threw in Tom Strong as a cliffhanger.
Right.
And I was just like, no, I can't. No, goodbye.
Yeah. No, it's not a strong book at all. It to me, it's one of the problems is I don't think Jeff Lemire does a very good job of writing straight corporate comics, and so it suffers for that. I think it also suffers from the fact is that the artists are drawing what they want to draw, and then he's trying to go back in and add dialogue that makes sense to what they've drawn, and it's all around that's not a.
I noticed that pretty much, I don't know about all, but it looks like almost all the A-list artists they had for those books are already gone.
Yeah. Well, and some of them, they were only going to be able to do an issue. You got Jim Lee on the book. It's not going to last more than an issue. Let's be real. So
those will be lucky to last a year.
Well, most of them have already got end dates. I don't think any of them are ongoing at this point. I think they all actually have earmarked. This is either they were miniseries initially, or they're only going to go 9 issues or whatever kind of a deal. So, yeah. Get some more of the negativity out of the way right off the bat. Superman issue number 2. I've dropped this when I ordered my comics. I'm not feeling Bendis Superman at all.
I picked it up too, and I've already dropped it.
Yeah. Now I've been told, commentator is on. He tells me that I'm reading the wrong book. I should be reading Action Comics. That Action Comics has the secondary cast in it. So it has Lois around, potentially John's around too. I don't know. But because that's what I like about the book. I liked what we've been getting up to this point. I like him with his family. I like the cast of characters. I enjoy all of them. They're clearly not in this. I mean, the story here is the entire Earth's been sucked into the Phantom Zone somehow. There's this, I don't know, General Zod, Doomsday / I don't know what knockoff character that's in this.
Yeah, that's the one that was in Action 1000, supposedly destroyed Krypton and all this kind of stuff. So I don't care about the character at all. That's kind of why I'm dropping it.
And for me, because I did not read that, I'm just reading Superman. This is a character that's coming out of nowhere. The pages open up and they're on a planet that's ruled by Starfire's people. Tamarin. This whole, for Tamarin. So they go, okay, well, I don't know what this has got to do with Superman. There's this giant war, and here's this, oh no, it's this bad guy they got to run from. And then suddenly he's sucked out of it, and then we got Superman, and there's lots of narration, very little dialogue. It's lots of just pictures of Superman and the Earth in different shapes and yeah. So I don't know who these people are. So that's a new character though. That whoever the heck that guy is.
Yeah, the Rogal Zar. That's his name.
So he's a new character. I feel like I'm supposed to know him because the way it's written, it's kind of just like breaks into the middle of his story. I'm supposed to know who this guy is and what he's about and why is his motivation to kill all Kryptonians.
Yeah, I don't even know that, but unfortunately it has spilled over into Supergirl, which I also picked up.
Oh, that costume is a tragedy.
It is, but at least it's only temporary. It's only some sort of, it's like a solar suit, like it stores solar energy so she can go off into space or whatever.
And avoid the problem of the farther she gets away from the yellow sun.
Right,
the weaker
right.
she gets. Okay.
But thankfully it's only that because it's atrocious. I'm glad somebody else thinks it's awful.
No, it's bad.
And I wasn't like thrilled by the art. I mean, sometimes it was really good, but it's just not, I can't really.
Oh, that looks terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, the art it was really inconsistent. Sometimes it was decent. Yeah, it wasn't that great. I like Mark Andreyko as a writer. So I wanted to pick it up and check it out. I don't know if I'll stick with it or not. Especially since we're dealing with this stupid Bendis villain.
Right. I mean, I worried about that being the problem is once Bendis took over, that he would taint everything that had an S on it was going to be thrown for what it is. So you're not really getting an Andreyko story. You're getting him having to.
Right. I mean, and it was still well written. I
wonder if that book is going to get canceled.
I don't know what's going to happen. I'll stick with it for a little while. I'm hoping that this whole Krypton thing gets cleared up.
Yeah, it seems like lately that they put Andreyko on books that they know are done.
Another thing, I don't know. I mean, what I've read a little bit of other people who have been reading Supergirl, basically she's going through a character development that she's already gone through,
Right.
which doesn't make a lot of sense, I guess. But for me, I haven't been reading it, so it's new for me, so it doesn't bother me at all. That
Right.
Weren't they gonna put Kevin Maguire on art on Supergirl for a while?
Supposed to. I thought they were.
Yeah, I thought he was taking over drawing that book for a while.
Is that Kevin Maguire? Sorry.
It is Kevin Maguire.
Yeah.
It is. Wow. Maybe it's the inking. I don't know. Some of it's really good, and then other parts are just really rough. It doesn't look good. So it was like inconsistent. That's what I would say.
Well, I've got a speculation and a point on this. The actual point is with issue 2 on the sales numbers, Superman has already dropped back down to its pre-Bendis level. So how much are they regretting bringing him over for $500,000 or whatever it was, something crazy, only to immediately drop back down to where they were with Tomasi and Gleason.
Right.
And
so they didn't gain. It wasn't like they gained Marvel Marvel readers that came with Bendis.
If they did, the people that were following it for Tomasi and Gleason have dropped this immediately, so it all comes out in the wash.
Right.
And the other thing, too, is the first scuttlebutt that I heard when Bendis came over was that they were looking for somewhere to put Snyder with Batman done, and that Bendis was coming in, too. And the first thought was Snyder on Superman, Bendis on Justice League. How much more sense would have that made?
Probably, yeah.
I think they kind of wanted to do something unexpected and different with Bendis because people would expect him on the big premiere team book.
Right.
So I don't know. I think the whole thing has kind of been a waste of money for him to this point.
Yeah, I guess.
Unless those crime books of his take off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Interesting that the numbers drop that quickly. That's kind of crazy. So, let's see. So, Ryan, you want to talk? You want to talk Eternity Girl?
Yeah, we can talk Eternity Girl.
Issue number 6, the end of Eternity Girl. What do you think?
I think that it was interesting. I like Sonny Lu's art a lot.
Yes. Yes.
This is not up to his standard from his OGN Charlie Chan Pak Choi. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But it's good. You know, it's probably on the level of, he was the reason I was picking up Dr. Fate until those Brendan McCarthy issues at the end. So I thought it looked good. He works in some Kirby tech. I think the script was up and down. More up probably than down on the whole. I think Visaggio did some pretty good writing here. I don't think that she had to pull that Grant Morrison Lords of Chaos, Lords of Order thing out of her hat at the very end. That was that came out of nowhere, and that ties it in with, that's just an oblique tie into the old Vertigo Kid Eternity thing that I didn't feel like was necessary. And I think that if you're not familiar with that run, that 3-issue Grant Morrison thing from back in the day, or Ann Nesenti's series, which was actually pretty good, I think if you're not familiar with that, the ending on this is just going to kind of leave you flat. And if you are familiar with it, you're going to be like, well, okay, I guess it works, but I don't know the point. On the whole, I thought they were trying to do something with it, and they achieved some of what they were trying to do. And certainly both of these people, Mags Visaggio and Sonny Lu, are people whose next projects I'll look up, you know, and check them out, unless Mags is doing like another toy tie-in book or something, or a license thing. But if they're doing their own things, I'll definitely check them both out. I mean, they both, it was all right. How about you?
Yeah, as a whole, I really enjoyed it. There's some really good aspects of it that really intrigued me. Whatnot. Yet the ending of it, you know, was what it was. I mean, I don't know that it was anything special as far as that part of it goes. I really liked it up to that point. I really like Sonny Lu's art. I love throughout the whole series that kind of changing styles depending on, you know, where we were. That element where it makes it, you know, where they draw it so it really looks like it's a comic book as opposed to, you know, trying to be its own thing. Love all those kinds of things. That visual storytelling is just great stuff. I find that kind of stuff refreshing in this kind of comics and whatnot. But no, there's just large aspects of it that I really like. I mean, I kind of like the attempted self-destruction of the character and that all the way along through it and whatnot. I found all that really enjoyable. And I'm like you, if I see these people on, you know, something that's their own work, I'm going to give it a shot. You know, I mean, that this is entertaining me enough that whatever else they, you know, are going to do, I'm going to check out, you know, kind of a thing. So
yeah, same here. It was a very enjoyable book, through one of the more enjoyable of the Young Animals post Milk Wars.
Let me see if you guys agree with this or not. I got the same feeling that I get on this one. Well, no, I would say it was the strongest, but it also had the same pluses and minuses that all the second wave Young Animal lines did, which is that they had good ideas or some kind of good core concept in there, but they did kind of lose focus here and there along the way. And I think that's happened with the Mother Panic AD thing. I think it's happened with the second Shade run. They just haven't seemed as tightly directed, I guess, as maybe they once were on the first runs.
Yeah, for me, it feels like it's either that or it is, as much as they all publicly say that these are all planned ends, it really feels like the carpet was pulled out underneath them. Like they got 2 issues in and they were told, you've only got 4 issues left.
That's how it feels to me.
And we're done. And so concepts that I think that they would have played with differently, they're suddenly kind of rushing to get to the end of is how they've all landed for me pretty much. This one less so, this one less so. This one felt like, you know, clearly they had to find an ending at some point, and I think endings are hard to land on a lot of comics anyway.
Sure.
But all the others to me really feel like it was, as much as they swear up and down it was a planned thing, it does not feel planned to me. It feels like it was a you know, they got an issue or two in and it was like, oh, okay, we got to do this. Because that's not what the conversation sounded like when I talked with the creators who are working on Mother Panic AD. The way they were talking, it wasn't no 6 issues and they were going to be done, you know, kind of a deal. It sounded like they had some long-term plans as to how they were going to work with that version of Gotham and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe I took them wrong too. I don't know. But yeah, I enjoyed that comic though. So yeah. Talking about stuff that's been retreaded stories, Detective Comics, 986. I have not been enjoying the Hill written books. It really feels like we've just kind of are telling the same story that the whole Rebirth Detective Comics started out with. You know, he's looking.
I dropped it. So.
Yeah, he's looking for a mentor. He's looking for a mentor to mentor the kids of Gotham. You know, this time it's Black Lightning, which is the character I actually like. But it's the same story, you know, and largely over again. The characterization of like Barbara Gordon in this is tragic. They treat her like she's one of the children, when probably Barbara Gordon is probably the most adult character of the entire Batman family, in my opinion. She's more adult than Bruce Wayne is. So I didn't like. I mean, I'm not enjoying it for that. It's everything seems out of character. Largely in it. It just kind of seems unnecessary kind of a deal. I'm not dropping it because this is going to be done. Unfortunately, I think James Robinson is going to have a little bit of a run on it. And then Tomasi is supposed to be on the book. And it's
I'm
supposed to be
picking it back up for Tomasi.
Yeah. And it's supposed to be more detective-like then. So I will write it out until that because I'm a dumb collector and I collect it because it's it's Detective Comics and I waste my money on it in between. But it largely feels like the same story over again with some mischaracterizations. So
didn't Tomasi have a quick cup of coffee on that book right before 50? I think he was the last writer on Detective, the last run.
It might have been. I can't remember now. I know he's done some issues. It's not like he hasn't. I know he's done some issues. I think he did some issues on it because he was doing the Outsiders before the New 52, and then Dan Didio decided that for what reason.
Oh my God, you didn't just do that.
Yeah, I know, right? That's a horrible slip. But he decided that he wanted to write the book, and of course, just the book got awful. And they wanted to keep Tomasi around, so they kind of found things for him to do and whatnot. But yeah. But yeah,
apologies up there, Steve.
Yes, no kidding, right? Jeez, guy's freshly gone, and I'm associating those two.
I think one of the memories I'll cling to when I'm old and spent is that a lot of people who knew Ditko said that the tribute I put up to him was the best one they read online.
Awesome.
I feel like I did something with my year there.
Yeah. Another book that I don't like the characterization in. I've enjoyed Red Hood and the Outlaws for what it is up until this issue 25. They're kind of changing direction by the end of this. Batman in this is characterized really wrong. I think he shows up to basically beat the hell out of Red Hood because supposedly Red Hood, it looks like Red Hood has killed the Penguin, which I doubt he actually has. But Batman shows up. I told you you're never going to kill in Gotham, or he beats the holy hell out of him, tears off his bat symbol, and completely wrecks the guy by the end of it. And he's saved because basically, to start out with, Bizarro sucker punches Batman, and Bizarro starts to save him, and then Batman shows back up again, and then Arsenal saves him at the very end of it. So it's like, Arsenal's back in the group. So I don't know if they're getting rid of, and for the get rid of Bizarro and Artemis. Bizarro basically creates some sort of bizarre kind of a black hole with his own tech while he was a super genius. It's all kind of imploding, and he kind of pulls his own machinery through it to get rid of it, kind of a thing's like the last smart thing Bizarro does. And Artemis dives through after him. And so they're gone now. So I'm assuming that clears them out of the book. So now it can go back to being, because a lot of us have seen this kind of redrawn new version of the Red Hood where he actually has a hood. Everything about that redrawing is wrong, in my opinion. They keep talking about how he has a tire iron with him, and it's kind of harkened back to when he was caught stealing Batman's tires. Problem is every artist draws the tire iron so it looks like a crowbar, which is totally nuts for him to be walking around with the crowbar. I mean, let's walk around with the murder weapon that you were killed with. It's ridiculous. And he's carrying a katana. He's gotten rid of his guns. He actually has a physical hood now. And my understanding is they got rid of his helmet so they could show him emoting. So the artist could actually show emoting, because it's always kind of silly to have his helmet emoting, right? But then they gave him this face mask that covers the entire bottom half of his face, and they gave him a mask. So other than a little bit of eyebrow that can wiggle, that's hidden by a hood, he can't emote anymore either. It makes no sense. It doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. So as much as I don't know, I'm not dropping the book right away. I'm curious to see what this new thing looks like, but it's, yeah. So I mean, there's a quick picture of the redesign, and I just, whatever. I don't get it. So as a whole, it's not been a good week for DC Comics for me. What else you got? I got one more DC book. You got any others, Jen?
Like Catwoman.
Yeah, okay. That's my other one.
So what did you think of this? I'm not too upbeat about it. I like the art. I haven't read Batman since issue 50, so.
Oh, and this kind of keeps playing back to it. I like that, though. I like that they didn't just act like it didn't happen.
No, I agree. I don't like that it happened in the first place, but I'm definitely not reading 50 more issues to have it happen again.
Okay.
But
I'm actually enjoying Batman right now.
I'm still collecting it. I may actually read it at some point. I don't know, but not right now.
Okay.
But I mean, I enjoy it. I'm going to stay on it, but I don't know. I don't feel like there was much to it,
Catwoman? Yes.
Yeah.
There's lots of gorgeous, Jolie Jones art, but it's, I mean, to get from point A to point B in this issue, you're right, not a whole lot happens. The ball didn't move very far forward. It gave us opportunity to have, these big double page, spreads and whatnot of her great work and whatnot. But I'm enjoying it. And like I said, I like the fact that she's not over it. I like the fact that she's stewing about it. I don't know. I enjoy all of that. This is the book, a DC book I like besides, Eternity Girl. This is the book I like best of the week.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm still enjoying it. I like it. I don't know. I'm not sure if I was expecting something a little more or what. But, I mean, the art is enough for me, to be honest.
Yeah. Well,
it's not bad. Definitely not bad.
I like the characterization, and I get why you're not like it because of the whole fact that she's still angsty over the wedding stuff, and see, I like that.
And I think that may kind of color it for me. I'm seeing it through that lens, but I still enjoy it, and eventually it's going to move away from that. So I'm going to stick with it.
Think she's going to get over with it that quick, huh?
Well, I don't know. It'll do. Hopefully, she'll have something else to do besides pine over Bruce. So, another thing I don't get is why that one comic book said that they were going to get married as Batman and Catwoman, and then it was completely different. I don't know if they're just not communicating well with each other on the books or what.
Right. All those extra books, all that extra stuff kind of perpetuated a lie in a sense. So I get why everybody's angry about that and whatnot. I've actually been enjoying Batman since 50.
I may give it a read at some point. We'll see.
I don't know what he was thinking, marrying a guy who puts on fetish gear and goes out at night beating up men. You know?
Isn't that what she does, though?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
My theory has always been that Batman's a BDSM top. So, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But that's it for my DC books. I don't have any other DC books.
That's it for me as well.
Okay. DC news. I don't know of anything in particular.
We missed one.
Oh.
That I know you guys both read. Or I'm guessing Jen read it. I know Travis did.
We got to talk Sandman.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I did read that.
We'll talk Vertigo books. Sure.
I was thinking I put Vertigo.
I always throw it in the independent pile because it acts like it just. That's fine.
I get it.
I mean, if you're considering this,
I think of it as a corporate book. I mean.
Yeah, I get it.
Well, it certainly is at this point.
Yeah, it's an industry unto itself. The Sandman.
Yep. I picked up the Dave McKean cover because of course
I had.
Because the original, Sandman was always him, so that's why I went with that. I do really I mean as far as like just window dressing on a cover, I do like this kind of new Vertigo with that kind of
too.
Really cool and stuff. And that's I like that as far as cover window dressings go, whatnot. Me and Ryan talked a little bit about this off air. What do you think, Jen?
I really loved it.
Yeah.
I'm excited for most of the books, so, and then that's what it felt like to me, a little bit of an introduction to each of the books. So
yeah. That's exactly what it was. Ryan, what you called it, the rebirth, basically.
Yeah, it's the rebirth special. It follows the same plot conceit. You've just got Matthew the Raven in place of Wally West, and he's ducking and weaving into the various spots that'll be the plot points in the book. And it's contrived, but it was still fun to read. The art was real nice. I thought it had a fairly consistent. I don't know who wrote what parts. I'm guessing each writer took their
couple pages.
And I think that the linking material, the main bridge material, was Simon Spurrier, and I think he's uniformly pretty good. I mean, I know some people have a problem with some of his stuff, but I thought that Motherlands thing he just did for Vertigo a few months back was 2000 AD style fun. I think he took over Cross Plus 100 from Alan Moore and did a nice job. I think he's an interesting writer, and I'll give all the four first issues a go, and if they're all reasonably good, I'll stick them out. I mean, what the heck?
Yeah, the one book I was not interested in and thought maybe I wouldn't pick up was going to be the Books of Magic, because that really feels like a retread of that book's already been written. Why are we writing? I like Tom Flower though. It's going to be on art, so I will. I'll give it a go because of the art on it, if nothing else. I really like Blisk Everly, who does the kind of the bookends of this. Her art is just gorgeous to me. Anything she's doing, I'm buying. I like the Sandman universe, so I'm curious. I'm curious to see if somebody does something interesting or different with Lucifer, or if that ends up being a retread. That's my only concern with all of these. How much of it's going to be a retread, and how much of it's going to be, going off to do its own thing. Because this isn't really a universe that to me feels like we needed to open back up again and explore, kind of a thing. So I don't know how much of it is the cash grab versus somebody really versus
words out of my mouth. I mean, obviously it's a cash grab, but is it going to be a cash grab that has something going for it, unlike Doomsday Clock or something? You know what I mean? This
Right.
could be a cash grab that's at least worth reading. And the art, yeah, the art's nice, and I like that idea of bringing in the voodoo mythology into the
Yeah.
Spider-Man universe. I think that could be interesting, and
Yeah.
I think in at least the Spurrier written parts on this one, it hit the old Gaiman notes, you know, story beat wise and stuff. I think they've got the tone down. I mean, maybe it is just a pale approximation of what it was at its peak, but that's still better than half or more of the stuff that's out there now. So
Yeah.
we'll see what we can
True.
get.
For sure.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it to rewrite the wheel or to be as amazing as the original run, but if it's, you know, if it's worth something more than just nostalgia value, if they're doing something a little bit different, a little bit unexpected, that's all I ask for out of it, and to be competently executed.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Well, I think they have some of the right people in place to do it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure. Alrighty. So what other independent books do you want to talk about?
I got Animosity Evolution.
Yeah, what are you thinking of Animosity Evolution?
I'm still enjoying it quite a bit. I'm interesting to see where it's going to go, though, from here. You know, the whole Civil War thing. I'm not sure that that's going to keep me as interested as it had. I mean, the book has previously.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not even sure how they can call it a civil war. I mean, they're not really a society. They're barely a society holding together now. So
yeah, I don't know what that's going to entail.
Yeah.
But so far, I've really enjoyed this. You know, the side book here.
And actually, this issue in particular, I really enjoyed. I mean, I like the kind of 2-page spread, kind of, you know, venture into, you know, why is North the way he is, and you know, he's kind of, you know, with his sick father, you know, the biblical stuff and whatnot, him wanting to be the sacrificial lamb and some of that stuff I thought was interesting. And then the kind of, I don't know, his dreaming or exactly what's going on, where he's kind of dreaming or hallucinating, kind of a deal with the second double-page spread where it's, you know, Wintermutt in a bipedal form and kissing him and kind of like,
that was weird.
Like delivering a piece of cybernetics to him through that kiss and stuff was really kind of as strange but interesting.
I like
kind of a
that.
deal.
Yeah, that's. I mean, it's got such. There are a lot of cool concepts in here that.
Yeah, well, you know, but it definitely has a. This issue, by the end of it, had a definitely kind of a Walking Dead sort of a feel to it.
It did.
Where it's just like, it's like nobody's gonna win. There's just no way. I mean, the Dolphins are screwing with them by wrecking their water.
The
so
water
now they
supply,
have, you know, so
that's going to be rough.
You know, and the food is an issue, and the whole thing's going to be. So, yeah, it's intriguing. It's intriguing. I like the book.
Yeah. Good stuff.
I'm dying to talk with somebody about this.
Okay.
and Ryan, you picked this book up, right? She Can Fly.
I love it.
So this is issue 2, and Jen, you have not been picking.
I did not. I was like, well, I'm just gonna pick that one up and trade, you know. And now I'm kind of thinking maybe I shouldn't have.
I can't blame you.
Yeah.
So we've got this character, this girl on the front here who's holding her head. She's not headless in the book. And correct me if I'm wrong in any of my interpretation of this. She's clearly an undiagnosed schizophrenic. Is my guess. I mean, because she has evil voices that tell her she's awful and that she should murder people, and she's gonna murder people, and she's the devil of the the daughter of the devil, and that sort of stuff. We have this to start out with the first issue. Basically, we have all these sightings of this woman flying through the sky, basically the equivalent of Superman. Look up at the sky, is it a bird, it's a plane? You know, it's this woman and whatnot. Everybody's deeply engrossed, and she is obsessed with this woman who's flying. She's actually been someplace and physically seen this speck of a woman flying across the sky, and it's so amazing and whatnot. And the woman blows up. She just explodes, like blam, and everybody's freaking out. And of course now, you know, she's freaking out because this thing that she loved blew up. I mean, at one point in issue 1, she's I think, contemplating committing suicide. She's going to throw herself off this building in the area where this woman blew up. She ends up finding this burnt up necklace that was something that the flying woman was wearing. So she is now wearing it. And we're also getting this other story that's leading us everything together of there's like some secret corporations who have been, manipulating some stuff. So there really is a flying woman. The government are potentially looking, and this corporation is trying to scrub everything that might have to do with this flying woman. Right?
You've got it. There's one factual point you were close on but missed.
What's that?
And that was Cantwell, the writer, said that she's not schizophrenic. She's got acute OCD, which I guess he's got. And he's basing it on his own down that. Yeah, because people with hardcore OCD can get one idea and just focus on it like an MFer. You know what I mean?
Well, so I get that in the aspect of her obsession with the flying woman. Is that the OCD part? Because
the whole thing,
literally in this thing, I mean, she has voices telling her her grandmother lives with them. She's clearly, a victim of dementia of some sort. Normally, grandma just sits in lotus position and does the right. But I mean, like, she goes and gets a gun, unless she's hallucinating, puts it to the back of grandma's head, is going to shoot her, and then chickens out at the last second, puts the gun back away. That, to me, that's not OCD. That's she's hearing voices.
Yeah, I don't know. The guy said, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay. I mean, it's like, I don't know. I dearly love the book. I don't know what's all going to happen and whatnot, but it's,
and the art that Martin Morazzo art is awesome.
Yeah. It's just intense.
That stuff is so crisp looking.
It's just like, I mean, here's part of her, she goes to church group. Her mother belongs to a church group where it's kind of like Alcoholics Anonymous, except for they go and they talk about how the God has literally mythically touched them. Like, they're talking about, I see heavenly lights above people's heads, blah, blah, blah. And then they ask her, how has Jesus touched you? And she's like, in her head, she's like, I'm the son of, I'm the daughter, I'm the spawn of Satan, stuff. And, I'm going to eat you all, and, kind of thing, before she runs out. I mean, she doesn't say any of this stuff for real. It's just all in her head. And then she bails. I love her parents. Don't her parents just come across as being very real and very not understanding? I mean, your kid goes to school and they get good grades. So clearly your kid is fine, right? They don't take the time to actually ask her, how are you, to know that she's dealing with all this stuff that she's dealing with, kind of thing. I don't know. This issue drove that home. I think she's fine, kind of stuff that
they mean well enough.
Yeah.
But their scope of framework of what they can handle is so limited compared to what she could really use. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I think the characterization is great. I think the Burger Books thing is kind of like the opposite of Young Animal, and that the second wave has really been stronger so far between this and the Seeds. And the first wave was really up and down. I mean, no offense to the late Mr. Bourdain, but that book just had great art, but very mediocre stories. And interesting, but it was nothing awesome. It wasn't as good as the original graphic novel. So I think they're really hitting their stride with their second wave of titles.
Yeah. And this is 4 issues. So I'm just real curious to see where it's going to go, with the next 2 issues. There's just a lot of interesting characters, in the book and whatnot. And the art, like I said, the art is great. This is the artist who's also on Ice Cream Man, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think so. Yeah. So just different enough from what else that's out there that I am reading right now that it really tickles my fancy, all the bits and pieces of it and whatnot. So yeah.
Cool.
And I don't think in reality the flying girl really means a whole lot in the grand scheme of things. I don't know. And I'm just curious to see which I'm curious to see what happens now.
Theory that it's an aspect of her.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Could be. Yeah, could be. I'm curious, because at the end of this issue, two of the groups are kind of clashing into each other. So I'll be curious to see how that, how that all comes out in the wash when it's in the next issue. So really, really been fun. So what else? What else you guys read this week you want to talk about?
How about Hot Lunch Special?
Hot Lunch Special. My cover is the one with the yeah.
I didn't pick that up.
Because it's got a sandwich with fingers in it, so I had to pick up that one.
So my thing with this is now it is so obvious. Why didn't comics do Fargo sooner? Because that's what we've got going here. I had a blast with this thing. I think the art is pretty interesting. The characterization is really, it is out of some of these northern Minnesota towns. A lot of humor and a lot of heart in it. And there's just an interesting enough crime story in there to keep you coming back. I feel like they're onto a winner with this one. I really do.
Yeah, I wasn't sure what to expect out of this. With the title like Hot Lunch Special, right? I'm like, what's it going to be? Is it going to be some sort of goofy comedy? Is it going to be Chew-esque? What's it going to be? And I didn't look a lot up on it. Beside that, I'll just pick it up and see what all we got going on. And of course, it opens up with a classic scene of a guy going to a vending machine and ordering himself a sandwich. And he goes gets that first bite out of it, and he bites into something and it goes crunch. And so he opens up his sandwich to look what it is. And it's like a thumb is stuck in his sandwich, kind of a thing, So right off the bat, you're like going, "Holy cows!" What's up with that? And then we get this kind of like history of this kid and his family, that the family, since basically World War II, has been working on this bordello of sorts, and which has turned into a small conglomerate of making sandwiches that go into vending machines, kind of a thing. So what it ends up turning into is it's a crime story in that to make this stuff happen, of course, they themselves are making deals that like the mob would make, sorts of things and whatnot. It's small mob kind of stuff, which is really interesting and by the end of it, really intriguing. Because they basically pull a hit. This guy's a Minnesota trucker, and he wants to do all the shipping. And these two guys have a disagreement about whether or not his contract is to do all the stuff in Minnesota and not outside of Minnesota. He wants all the business, so he sends goons down to the store to shoot the place up.
That last pretty awesome.
Yes. Yeah. So so like I said, I didn't know what to expect out of it, but I was like, wow, this is intense. So there's, like I said, there's some great cut scenes in here too. Like the guy we go from the sandwich, the guy biting the sandwich has the fingers in it. A few pages later, this trucker's been robbed and he was hurt in the robbery and he loses some fingers. It like matches up. They're not really the same fingers, or are they the same fingers?
They could be.
Are they taking the fingers and then shoving them in the vending machines to make the
to send the point? Yeah, they're sending it's like the wrapped fish.
Right.
The Godfather. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know. I'm digging it, and I'm not from the area, but I don't know. It clearly had. My family's from Wisconsin, but close enough to Minnesota to have some of the same isms are in the.
Tell me you didn't hear the old accent in there, eh?
Oh yeah, 100%. And so I was tickled by that because it does. It definitely has that feel of that area. So yeah, cool. Really, it was a fun book, and I'm looking forward to seeing what all they do with it and whatnot. For sure. Jen, what else you got?
I got Dungeons and Dragons: The Evil at Baldur's Gate, which is always a fun book for me. The second issue of this one was kind of bogged down. But the first one was fun. It was about the warrior and his little hamster friend, and then this one is about one of the team members is infected with she was bitten by a werewolf, and so the issue before this was about the magic girl who kind of had wild magic out of control, and she went to this weird place of like order, and that one's a lot of fun. I like the third issue quite a bit. It seems like they're all going through ordeals or something to prepare them for what's coming after this. But yeah, this one, she's got one of the party members is got lycanthropy or whatever.
Right.
She's and so they have to a ritual has to be performed to kind of purge her of that. And then, you know, I like the characters and it's fun for me. It's not anything super deep. So
Is that still written by Jim Zub?
Yeah. I've been reading it since like forever ago. You know, like he does like 5 issues at a time. And they were in like Ravenloft, and then they went back to Baldur's Gate, and I'm not sure where exactly they're going from here, but yeah, it's enjoyable for me. It's kind of like I read it between books to kind of just cleanse your mind, you know.
Yeah, palate cleanser. We see some of the intense stuff or whatever. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, right on.
And then I only have one other, so
okay. Clan Killers, issue 2. Anybody pick this up?
I didn't, but
this is one of those. There are aspects of it I absolutely love. It's just it's very I don't know, punk rock in a way, for lack of any other description for it. And then the other aspects, I'm like, this isn't good. How does this work as a comic? Kind of thing. So Clan Killers, it's basically there are like 4 or 5 clans in, I don't know, Ireland or Scotland is kind of a place. It's clearly all, you know, fictitious in a sense. It's got mythic stuff in it. It's about this girl. I want to say her name is Fiona, but it's not actually Fiona. It's something like Fiona. And she has a friend who might be, their interest might be a little more than friendship. His name is Cillian, and he is a boy who was kept by the priests and was used and abused. She basically, her father is the head of one of the clans. His name is something or other, the Grotesque. He lives in a castle, in a keep that's made mostly of his enemies' bones. And he hangs around in his castle and has massive weird sex orgies, drinks a lot, and kills people. That's what her dad does. And she has decided that she hates the goddess. There's this goddess, goddess Balor, that kind of everybody worships. And she hates goddess Balor because Balor turned her father into this kind of monster that she is. So she's decided that she's just, you know, basically F everybody. I'm going to wreck everything. I'm going to kill all the clans. I'm going to kill my father. And I'm going to free us all so we can go live normal lives as opposed to the BS that's going on and whatnot, you know, kind of a thing. So there's, like I said, there's aspects of it I really like. There's some mysticism in it that I think is really kind of cool. There's these just, I don't know, the art's okay. It works in some places. In other places, it's clunky and stuff. There are names in this that I just absolutely love. Like I said, there's all these clans. There's a clan that clearly is like vampires and whatnot. They're about ready to run into now. I don't know. There's language in it that I really like. There's pages I can't show because it's got all kinds of naked girls in it and whatnot, and naked guys that will get us flagged. I actually like those aspects. They're just kind of weird and whatnot. Like I said, this is a book. I just don't know where the hell it's going. And there's moments of it that I really like. They decide that they have to get into this one kingdom. There's really no safe way in. So they decide that they're going to kidnap the Irish Grim Reaper, who oh, what is his name? I can't find it. I don't know what his name is. The Dullahan, and they decide they're gonna. It's basically a stagecoach with a headless guy on it, and the coach is absolutely stuffed to the brim with hacked up body parts from all of his victims. And those body parts will swing around and attack and destroy whatever. They decide that they're going to jump onto this stagecoach, take control of it so they can ride this, because this stagecoach can actually ride through mountains. It can roll through trees. Nothing stops it from wherever it's going, wherever it decides it's going. And they basically get on the thing and end up stealing the stagecoach's head and threatening the head so they can use the stagecoach to ride into this one clan so they can kill this clan. Her father is hunting her down because he's all mad that she's not there, basically being the wonderful daughter and whatnot, kind of a thing. I know it's very random. And like I said, there's aspects of it that I don't know why it tickles my fancy, but it does. Some of the bizarre names and some of the language and the kind of flippant attitude of the daughter amuse me. But there's also parts of it that just kind of like the dumbest rationales as to how they move from scene to scene in it. So I don't know. I don't know what I think of it. Like I said, there's parts that tickle my fancy, and there's other parts that go, this is just not good at all. So I don't know.
Who's doing that one?
It is Sean Lewis is writing it, and Antonio Fuso is doing the art.
I don't know either one of those names.
Yeah, and neither do I. I mean, which kind of surprised me because typically Aftershock seems to be going for generally named people, right? They get a named writer and then hire an artist to work.
I would check out that Lewis could be a Hollywood guy. They get Aftershock's got a pipeline into some of these Hollywood guys.
Right. I remember you saying that. So, award-winning playwright.
Okay.
This American Life contributor, screenwriter. So, he with Ben Mackey, he created Saints.
Oh, sure.
With Hayden Sherman, he created The Few. With Image Comics. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, that might be worth checking out in trade or something.
It's odd. Like I said, it's really odd. There's aspects of that I like, but I can't really explain why it tickles my fancy, but it does. So, Ryan, what else you got?
I've got a few things, and I'll try to make them not too verbose. I'll go through them in order. They're all pretty good. New Lieutenants of Metal. This is a thing from Joe Casey and Ulysses Farinas from Image. This is tons of fun. It's written in a Kirby-esque style. The art's very bright, colorful, just batshit crazy stuff. They're a team of metalheads led by a gender non-binary type of leader. They just battle like boy bands and other bastardizations of music. It's fun. It's not too serious. And then Joe Casey's doing these huge 10, 15-page essays at the back of every issue looking over his comics career that are pretty interesting. This one's all about his Wildstorm years. So these things are huge on the back matter. It's probably worth a trade pickup. I think it's slated to go 4, maybe 5 issues. Probably worth a trade pickup if they collect the back matter too. But I'm having quite a bit of fun with it. What else? We talked a little about Death or Glory off air. I don't need to get into it. I like it okay. I like Bengal's art a lot.
Yeah.
Next thing worth talking about, Black Badge. I don't know if I got that. Black Badge.
That's a new mix. Matt Kent and
Tyler Jenkins.
Yeah.
And Hillary Jenkins' wife on colors. They were the people that did Grass Kings. I don't know if you guys read Grass Kings. Tonally, this is quite a bit different. It's about kids who they get merit badges and all this crazy shit. They're like the top of the top scouts. So they're basically being used by the government to go into North Korea and GPS locate some spot that they want to blow up. The art is quite a bit more, there's not really a watercolor style so much to this one. The art is a little more defined and the color's a little darker than Grass Kings. It's a good looking book. It's one they put on these cardstock covers with nice paper, just like Grass Kings. So it's very much worth $4. It's an entirely different concept. And so far as first issues go, I'm all in. I liked it. I will be sticking this one out for the foreseeable future. There's real good, quick, rapid-fire characterization on all the kids involved. It seems just plausible enough that you could see them using these bright kids for something like this, and yet it's outrageous enough to seem weird. So I think they got the balance pretty right with that one. I think you guys would probably both enjoy it, if I had to guess. Next one to quick talk about that I absolutely loved.
Oh yeah.
Kids Comics, new Chaykin. I'm a sucker for Chaykin. Always have been, always will be. This one, he's taken on the comics industry and their sorry ethical history. We've got stand-in characters for Kirby, stand-in characters for Siegel and Schuster. Interesting in that one of the guys from the early days of comics is black, and there weren't too many black artists back then. So he's taken some liberties a little bit. It's hard to pinpoint who's supposed to be the protagonist here because he jumps around in years a lot. If you'll notice here, I don't know if you can see that. We've got a pretty clear shot of Chaykin's mentor, Gil Kane. So we've got a stand-in for Gil Kane in here, a stand-in for Flo Steinberg, and our villainess character we meet at the last page is a stand-in for, of course, Smile and Stan himself. So I had a ton of fun with this. I'm not quite sure where he's going with it at this point, but like I say, Chaykin has an unusually high hit percentage for me. I understand why people were upset with Divided States. A lot of people I respect really had a lot of hate for that book. I don't feel like they read it through completely, and that not necessarily all the criticism was warranted. Some was. But I liked it. But this so far I love. This so far I absolutely love.
Is that because it's taking a shot at those old corporate comic stuff and you just like that anyway? Because I know people who've read that book and absolutely thought it was not a good book. That structurally and whatnot, it was a mess.
It is structurally a mess, but how often is Chaykin stuff you can say that until it all comes together? You know, he really is that way. So I need to take a fast break. You guys talk among yourselves real quick. I'll be right back.
Okay. So other books that I picked up, Shadow Roads is issue number 2 of Shadow Roads. More of the Six Gun universe, which I totally dig. And so
So do you think I could read that without having? Okay.
Because it has not mentioned the guns at all. Aren't mentioned in this at one bit. It's basically, I believe this story is set before the finale of what happens in the main story. So this is basically a Western with supernatural stuff going on in it. In this, we've got a different cast of characters. Still has 2 really strong female characters. That's one of the things like what the Six Gun in the first place is. There were these really dynamic women that were in it. There were lots of fun, and some interesting guys too. So in this one, that's kind of the case here. We have a ex-opera singer, or everybody knows her as an opera singer, but she's actually this occult warrior, kind of a person who has rescued a Native American man who's living in England and is all gentrified and whatnot, and has been kind of exposed to some really poorly displayed Native American museums that are in England. At the end of basically this is all set right during that era where America is starting to lose the Wild West. It's kind of what it is. So he gets there and is kind of exposed to some stuff there, and has kind of a weird moment where he's given this knife and by some old Indian who's part of the museum, but in reality he's not. They can't fight him after he gives them the knife, kind of a deal. But they're on a train ride. They get attacked by what they must be demons or something like that, as far as their guess is. And after they escape off the train with the help of Abigail, this opera singer, they're suddenly like in Arizona, out in the middle of nowhere. And they are picked up by a group of Indians, the Buzzard clan, and he basically gets exposed to potentially who he really is. That he's a magic person, and there's this person called the Hunter that is hunting him. And everybody thinks this Hunter is bad news, kind of a deal. And our other cast of characters is a young woman who's dressed like a guy, and this guy who they call Ghost Seer. She is following him along, and they are on a trail to try and find the Hunter, because she wants to take the Hunter out because the Hunter has killed her family in the past, and she wants at least one shot at trying to kill this Hunter guy before he comes to hunt her down, kind of a thing. And the Ghost Seer is some old coot who believes that he can see ghosts, and the ghosts tell him where to go. So they're looking for the Hunter too, as these two groups, our paths are going to meet to deal with this Hunter person and whatnot. The art isn't.
I have a question about that. So this setup you're talking about, is that like one of those traveling Wild West shows in England?
Less so than that. Then this is basically somebody from England went and grabbed a few artifacts and stuck them in a museum and said, "This is a teepee, and this is a," it's all ridiculous, hyperbole. It's not, hyperbole. It's nothing like what actual Native American life is like. They've just put this stuff up.
Wild Bill Hickok and guys like that did traveling Wild West shows in the UK that were huge. I mean, that all seemed very exotic to them. And then there were a lot of third-rate imitators to him and things like that. So, my wife just said hi to everybody. So, yeah, I'd probably be interested to check that book out. How's the art?
It's decent. I like it. Like I said, I don't think. One of the things I like about Brian Hurt, because Cullen Bunn, Brian Hurt write this, and the Sixth Gun was drawn by Brian Hurt, and I like his kind of. He's more of a cartoonist as opposed to a comic book artist, and I like his style. He emotes emotions very well, and all that kind of stuff. This artist is AC Zamudo, I guess is how you say his name. He does a good job also. It's not exactly like Hertz, but it's close enough to the same style to still have that feel to it. I think he does emotions very well. His stuff is a little closer to like the manga, so there's some extra exaggeration, but not to the point to be ridiculous or to make me actually think I'm going to see like emoticons pop up over their heads like you would see in that style of thing. So I really enjoy it. It's still, because it still conveys everything that that you would want it to convey. The coloring's really good on it. But I'll tell you, I'm a sucker for this era and this style of comic. I like westerns that have kind of a creepy supernatural bump to them. Excite me
type stuff.
Yeah, excite me even more. So this is more of that. But there is nothing that's in this that's attached to the Sixth Gun other than it's in the same world. So you would not need to know anything about that to read this and just be able to go along and go, okay, this is a western with some some crazy supernatural stuff going on in it.
Cool. I think I'm going to jump on that.
Yeah, I'm kind of convinced too, at least to give it a shot.
Yeah. So it's been fun. I mean, like I said, I like the world. I'm excited to have it back and see what else they do with it. Let me press stuff. I think I don't know if this was the last issue of Mastros or not. It felt like it should have been. The art in it continues to be just wonderful, gorgeous, bright colors by Dave Stewart, which is really strange. You see all the other stuff that Dave Stewart does colors on that's always so dark because it's all mostly Magnolia Universe stuff. But this is all very bright. I mean, even the zombie maggot covered things is very bright. Well, it's bright in the same way that he colors it in the same way that he colors what's the Shaolin cowboy stuff. He colors,
the Jeff Darrow stuff.
right. He colors his stuff too, so it has the same color palette basically.
Did you look at the hard-boiled reprint that Dark Horse put out in hardcover?
No, I haven't seen that yet.
Oh my God! It really, he took the coloring down a notch and darkened it all around. And I was flipping through my original issues, and it was Claude Legris, the French colorist, was the original, and it just the original. I'm sorry, I love Dave Stewart, but not for that one.
Yeah,
not for that one.
But anyway, so I think this is the last issue. The universe gets completely annihilated. Our young wizard here smartly took pictures with his cell phone of the pages of the spell to rewrite the world. And so despite the bad guy in this basically creating nothing because of what he wants, and we get this kind of story about why he wants everything to be nothing, he recreates the world from his cell phone. He becomes kind of crazy. He becomes really big-headed and obsessed. He basically becomes his father. He becomes the monster that he kind of wanted to get rid of and make a better world from. He becomes that. And the only thing that stops him is the battery dies on his cell phone. So he can't keep casting spells out of his phone. And it kind of ends with him walking off with the potential for him to destroy everything because he acts like he destroys his cell phone, but he actually still has it so he can recharge it and pull the programming out of it and redo it and whatnot. So I don't know that I really cared for the end of it, but it was kind of a fun book while it was around. But I really do think it's done because I can't imagine what they would do with it from this point forward. So it is what it is. Getting down to the end of my books. Her Infernal Descent. This is an Aftershocks Comics. This is issue number 4. Issue number 3 kind of drug for me. I like things that kind of play with Dante's Inferno, which is kind of what this does. This one was interesting for a while. She's in a plane of hell that has been rented out to heaven, because kind of right now is space. So they are making condos in this one level of hell. So she thinks she's in heaven for most of the book. And one of the angels is trying to, sell her condo space, kind of a thing. And she's trying to work out, where is her family at? That's largely what she's after. Clearly her family didn't make it to heaven, she figures, so she needs to get back to hell somehow. That she figured, then they basically got to tell her, look, you're still in hell. There's the occasional literary reference here, not just to Dante's Inferno, but to other stuff too, because she's always in this one. She hangs out with, Hunter S. Thompson for a little bit. She's been being kind of drugged through hell with Agatha Christie and William Blake. But there are elements I like about it, but it's now kind of tiring. I think the next issue is the last issue, which I'm happy about. Fun kind of concept, but not really going anywhere though. So yeah, not as fun as what I originally thought it was going to be. So, and I've only got one book left. Jen, you got one book left? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
What's your book?
One, BPRD.
Okay. Yep, that's mine too.
So it's getting kind of crazy. Does it feel like everybody's gonna just eventually die?
Well, that's what I think's funny is, because we kind of already gone through this whole Earth splitting in half. The world's going to come to an end. We somehow managed to survive that, and you think, now it's just going to be kind of, let's tell some stories about the people and start to clean up the mess that was before. And hell feels like it's gained so much power on Earth so fast that yes, it does. Yeah. It feels like, oh my gosh, there's, where people are dying left and right again, feeling kind of a deal. So yeah, I don't know. I'm still really digging it. It's kind of fun to have the crew back together.
Yeah, I love having Abe there and Hellboy. Yeah, but it feels pretty ominous right now. I don't know.
Well, because there hasn't been a moment for them to decompress and just go, hey, let's just kind of live our lives. There hasn't been that. It's just right now, the next awful thing is happening. This whole, little girl devil that's got, everything. I don't know. It's It's yeah, it feels very big. It feels very big and very heavy, and I'm surprised at how fast it's that way. Well, and we lose a main character. I mean, at least one main character by the end of this issue. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what's next. I mean, so yeah, I don't know, because I mean, like I said, it felt like the whole thing was going to end. You know, out there for a while, I kept asking,
Yeah.
is this book going to end? Is it going to end? And then you know, there was this giant eruption, and then now you've got this, and I don't know what that all is going to you know, I don't think they plan to end the book, but maybe it is going to have some real ending. So,
Sleepy needs to track down Mike Mignola at Rose City Comic Con and bombard him with questions.
That's right. That's right. What's the deal? What's really going on? What's next? Yeah, I enjoy the book. I like it.
And the art's always phenomenal. It's a great book.
Yeah. Yeah. So whatever goes on with it, I'm on board. Okay. I don't know. I don't know if we. Oh, awesome. What do you got?
Best for last. Ben Passmore's Dayglow A-Hole Quarterly #2. This guy is one of the best cartoonists going right now, and he's finally getting the deluxe treatment on this. His book, Your Black Friend, was the Ignatz winner last year for best comic book, and certainly deserved. That was probably the most honest conversation on race you're going to have in a comic. This, by contrast, is pure punk rock, and by punk rock I mean more like in terms of its ethos than anything musical. But it's got a DIY punk rock feel. He's colored it in really bright colors. It's post-apocalyptic tale of about a guy who is searching for a legendary ocean of porn, literally. He is not, I don't know if he's one of these incels or whatever you call him, but he's, so he finds it, and there's a lot of insect creatures around, and one of them sort of, I don't know what, but ends up making a creature with the porn that ends up being female, and this guy and the female porn creature end up having all the ups and downs of a relationship in microcosm in the space of a few days. It's incredible. Passmore, and then we've got some religious stuff thrown in. You just never know what's going to be on the next. Look at that cover. All those roaches all over this guy. I don't know if you can see them. Just a talent on right now. His stuff is just amazing. He's had some stuff in a few little indie anthologies here and there, but this is his crack at what passes for the big time. Oh, and he loves showing cops get the shit kicked out of him, so I like that too. So it's just all kinds of fun from first page to last, plus with some stuff that makes you think a little bit along the way too. His characterization of this doomed relationship is really interesting. The guy has just got it, Even when things don't seem to be making a lot of sense, everything kind of congeals together in a way by the time. So it definitely has a punk rock vibe to it. You can tell that he probably grew up on a lot of that and has been involved in the punk scene and is just making comics his way, which is a way unlike anybody else. His cartooning's incredibly fluid and really highly expressive. And I just don't know. You never know what he's going to pull out of his mind next. So I recommend Passmore's stuff in general, but Dayglow A-Hole in particular. And come on, if they can give you, I think this is like a 64-page or something comic, full color, and I mean vibrant full cover, with heavy card stocks, no ads, from Silver Sprocket for $6. Why are people paying? How can Marvel and DC in good conscience give you an ad-filled book by guys making a crummy page rate that don't own their own material for what are they for $3.99? When you can, this is you know, one of the big knocks on the small press that is sometimes true is the stuff's more expensive. Not this. You're getting great value for your money here. It's only 2 issues in. I believe it runs 4. You know, even if this looks like it's something that would be outside your wheelhouse and not something you'd enjoy, it is just relatable enough to every aspect of the human condition that I think just about, I defy anybody that doesn't like comics to not like this book. That's how good it is. I very seldom give anything like a 10. Well, I never give star ratings, you know that.
Yeah.
But if I think that's lazy reviewing to do star ratings or scores. But if I was going to give a book a 9 or a 10 out of 10 type of thing, this earns it.
Well, I'm intrigued.
As well, you ought to be, my friend. It's great.
I'll be checking out. You said that was Silver Sprocket. That's the
Silver Sprocket's they've been doing a lot of his stuff. They're a punk rock publisher, and they do a lot of interesting. What is that name of that punk comics anthology they do? As You Were or something.
It's something
that has a lot of fun stuff. Yeah, that has a lot of fun stuff in it. But yeah, this is their most ambitious production values publication to date, and it really shows. And Passmore is just, man, that guy's imagination is something else. If you think you've seen everything in a post-apocalyptic story, you haven't.
Well, it never occurred to me to have a literal sea of porn, so there you go. So
I think it probably has occurred to some people.
clearly. So.
Yeah. But yeah, that's one of the better things that I've read this year. Oh, but while I'm on here, and since I really do want to plug something, you mind if I do that quickly?
No, go ahead.
You guys, because this is a book that to me has been the year's best. And very few people know about it, and I really want people to find out about it, and I want to show so people get an idea. It's called Quobarius, Volume 1. And the artist on this is a guy named DRT. He's at age 26 or 27 and had to learn how to redraw all over again. He was an art school graduate. This book is something entirely different almost every time I read it. It has a little bit of an animation cell look to some of the art. I don't know if that shows up there at all. The story is non-linear. It circles back in on itself. Geometric shapes appear out of nowhere without explanation for now that you can read to mean many different things. Dave on an acid trip looked comprehensible. And then also some really strange, some DSM text pops up here and there too. And I think he's addressing his own physical illness and inabilities. The production values are really good. It's on terrific. We've got beings. Like I said, I've read this, no lie, 18, 20 times in the few months I've had it. And it means something entirely different to me every time. And so far, I think the mind blow of the year. And I figured I would let people know about it just in case there's anybody kind of on that wavelength out there, because it's not one. I reviewed it. Comics Journal reviewed it. Nobody else has really been talking about it. And it really deserves some conversation because this is really incredible work of a very singular nature. Very singular nature. Quobarius, Volume 1 by DRT. And he's out of Chicago. It's $20, so it's a little pricey, but more than worth it. And this is really one of those things that if you're just going to linearly read it, you'll be done in 10 minutes. But if you're going to invest some time and thought into it, you can spend many hours deciphering this and come to an explanation of what you think is going on. I think it's a real singular piece of work on par with, on a par with some of the best stuff the medium's produced. That's my plug.
That's saying something.
Yeah, because I'm a picky son of a bitch.
For sure. I wrote it down. I'll be checking it out.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only place you can get it is from him.
Okay.
He just self-distributes it. So he's got a website somewhere or other. I forget the link, but I think, you may pick it up and just feel totally. I can understand why a right-thinking person could pick this up and feel totally alienated from it. Like, I don't understand what the hell. And it really does tax you and makes you invest your own thoughts into it, because I think it's a book that's going to mean something entirely different to every reader. I really do. And works like that are what excite me the most, really.
So what Ryan's really saying is if you pick it up and you hate it, it's because you're dumb.
No, I wouldn't say that at all.
I think a
really smart person could hate this, and an idiot could love it.
Sure.
It's just one of those things that's gonna forget meaning something different to every reader. It'll mean something different to you every time you go through it.
Yeah. Well, that makes it sound intriguing.
Nothing else. I mean, when's the last time you picked up any comic that you thought, this is like nothing else I've ever seen?
Yeah, I'm hard pressed to name books like that.
Thank you.
That truly that's the case. Yeah.
Yep.
For sure. For sure. I'm looking over comments while we're talking here and whatnot. And I just want to kind of talk about one. Commenter says that talking about BPRD, and it does seem like that everyone is dying, and it has me worried that the end of BPRD as an ongoing title is coming soon, which depresses me. It's such a good comic. Now, it kind of is done as a ongoing comic, right? They went back to renumbering, back to numbering it in groups again. So I don't know if that means that as we move forward, when this current The Devil You Know gets done, it'll take a month or two break, and then we'll get BPRD, and they'll title it something else, and it'll start over at number 1 again. Because that's how it used to be until it issue 100, and then at 100 it started having a consistent numbering for so many issues before they went back to doing it this way again. So I have not heard that it's gone, and I just have a hard time imagining that, because I think what they'll end up doing is if they don't tell a linear story going forward with it, they'll inevitably keep coming back to it occasionally to just tell stories in the past somewhere. I mean, because I think that as quickly as Mignola was saying, I'm done with Hellboy and I'm done doing this, because he ended Hellboy in Hell really quickly and stuff like that. I think almost immediately after saying that he was done and he wasn't going to do it anymore, I think he almost immediately regretted it and jumped back in. I think that's why we kind of have what we have now. So, yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah.
So the Mignola verse is not ending?
I don't think in reality it is. I mean, I think he kind of he kind of talked like it was going to. At some points, it was all going to wind down. And I don't think that's the case. I think they're just addressing it differently. Instead of it being a for sure every month we have to have a book, now it's like we're going to do it when we want to do it, tell a story we want to tell, break for when we want to, and then tell the next whatever.
Okay, because it definitely feels like, to me at least, and I haven't followed the Mignola stuff in many years, but it feels like to me like they are trying to make the Lemire Haspel superhero universe the new something going all the time, franchised out thing like that. And I've been pleasantly surprised with the quality that they've been able to maintain with those, not only on the main title, but even most of the spin-offs have been pretty fun.
Yeah.
But it feels like that's kind of Dark Horse's new franchised out cash cow that they want to kind of get as much out of as they can. And so far it's working okay.
Well, it definitely, the focus has moved away from it being all the Mignola universe stuff. I think partially due to the fact with what's his name? Scott Alley, not being in Dark Horse proper anymore. He's still helping Mignola write on what's coming out right now. Yeah. But with him leaving, that kind of, I think, changed the direction of some of that stuff and whatnot, and rightly so. I mean, I think that I think it's healthier for them as a company not to be, stuck in one thing. But I don't think it's disappearing completely. I just think that they're not investing it in the same way that they had been, in the last couple of years and whatnot. But clearly, they're doing other stuff. I mean, they're playing the Hellboy stuff that's going to be in the Playboy magazine that's coming up and whatnot. And there's that new movie that's floating around out there too.
Right.
So they're not totally walking away from that though either. I don't think it's truly going to end. I think that like I said, when Mignola kind of went, I'm done with this, we're going to let it all wind down and it's all over. And I think he was away from it for a month or two and decided that he didn't want to completely walk away. So, yeah. But I could be wrong. They could be, still have a long-term plan to pull the plug on the whole thing. So,
yeah, for some reason, I was under the impression it was all folding up within a year or something. Don't ask me where I got that idea.
Well, it was definitely, they talked about it being that way for a while. Because, Mignola was saying, I'm done. I don't want to do this anymore. I want to go off and paint. I don't want to be a comic creator right now. I want to go paint. I want to do all this other stuff and whatnot. And he went to do that and did it for a month or two and then was immediately back talking comics again. So I don't think he's as done as he thought he was. Maybe he chickened out. Maybe it's like, well, he's so used to doing what he's doing that, I don't know.
Well, if he's got like a schedule he's used to keeping, how nerve-wracking that can be to have like a schedule to your existence and then kind of not anymore. I mean,
right. For sure. All righty. Anything else we want to talk about?
Nope. And I think I'm going to dash, but I would love to be back on. So I'll see you later. Bye, guys.
Okay. Bye.
Have a good night. Thanks again.
Yep. Okay. So until whenever next time is, Ryan, if you ever get another Saturday night off, come on.
Yeah. I'll let you know. Oh, I should put the plug out too if there's any Minneapolis area people tomorrow. Autoptic 2018, one of the best small press shows in the country, right here in town, downtown at the Aria Event Center. Admission absolutely free. Creators on hand include Gabrielle Bell, Nick Dernasso, Craig Thompson, a lot of big names, Zach Sally, Kevin Huizenga, a lot of big names, both locally and from around the country. So, Jessica Campbell. I believe some of the other Koyama Press artists, cartoonists are going to be there. So if you happen to be in the area and don't want to spend any money and have a great time, it's going to be a great show.
It's free. If you're local, you should be going for sure.
Yes, it's free, but you will want to buy some shit there, no question about it, because it's a lot of stuff that, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. People like Drawn and Quarterly and Fantagraphic show. It is the real small press. So a lot of people that don't get their stuff distributed too much, and I think that it'll be a chance to, for me, I take it as a chance to see a lot of work by people I'm not familiar with,
which is
that
awesome.
I want to know about. So, that I can review their stuff and just get the word out there. So, and just find some new cartoonists whose work I haven't seen. So I think anybody out there in the Twin Cities area or even Minnesota, they're starting it up at 10 a.m. and I believe they're going till 5 or 6 at night. So full day with really some great artists for sure.
Awesome. Alrighty, with that, we'll call it a night. Thank you everybody who hung out and watched, and thank you once again, Ryan, for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. I appreciate it a lot.
Yep. Until whenever the next time is. Have a great one, everybody.
Yep.